everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. We're here going to be doing another garage review, and this time it will be of this vehicle right here, the Matilda IV, the Tier 5 Russian premium medium tank, which is, as you can tell, a Russian modified Matilda that was sent over to, from Britain for Lend-Lease in the same way as the Churchill was also sent over, and also we've got the, Russian, there you go, the Russian Lend-Lease Stuart as well. So these are all, you know, counted as Russian premiums, but they're from different countries. So, yes, the Matilda Mark IV then. It's probably like one of the oldest premiums in the game, along with, you know, the Churchill. And I like it. It's a decent enough medium tank. Nothing too spectacular. It is, at least, you know, a Matilda. Just with a bigger gun than a 2-pounder, because clearly the Russians didn't like the 2-pounder on it. So, starting off is 750 HP, which is, you know, it's not too bad. Compared to something like the Panzer IV, which has got 680. Let's have a look at something like the T-34, which has got 721, but I think without the enhanced survivability, I think it would go down to, what, 700 or something. Something like the Sherman V, for example, has got 700. And, you know, just one last thing, Y5 T-34, 700 as well. So, overall, not too bad at all. You know, that's a decent amount of HP, getting up to sort of like heavy tank standards, because, yeah, it's a Matilda. The Matilda is now classed as a heavy tank at Tier 4 now, for whatever reason. So, looking at the armour then, 75 all round on the turret, 75, 70, 55 armour sides and rears, which is not too bad, really. At range, the armour will serve you pretty well. It's the same frontal armour as a KV-1, for example. There you go, 75 frontal hull, and it's even got better side and rear armour in terms of thickness. So, you know, the armour will serve you fairly well. You can try and side scrape in it. I haven't been having the most luck side scraping this, but I suppose you probably could, and you can bounce shots from, you know, lower tier tanks, because you are at heart a Matilda. The armour isn't quite as effective as the Matilda at Tier 4, only because you'll start getting more Tier 5 and 6 guns shooting at you in the Matilda, Matilda 4, than if you were doing it in the Matilda 1 tier lower, where you'd been getting more Tier 4 and 3 guns shooting at you. So, yeah, the armour's still strong, not quite as strong as, you know, it was at Tier 4, but it's still a fairly strong tank, especially in comparison to lots of these other, you know, vehicles. T-34 has only got, what, 50 at the front or something, 45 sides. You know, the Panzer IV has got, what, 50 at the front there. Something like the Chinukai has got a maximum of 75 at the front. The Easy 4, that's got, what, 76 at the front of the turret and 64 at the front of the hull. It's, you know, not many mediums at this tier are as well armoured, except for maybe the hull of the Panther, than the Matilda 4 is. So, you know, armour overall pretty strong. Mobility, however, not so strong. It is a heavy tank. It's an infantry tank. It's not fast. It's pretty slow. 25 average speed, 12.3 power to weight, 36 degrees turret and 38 degrees hull traverse with a 336 horsepower engine, which is, you know, that's even with the power boost as well. If we compare that to something like the Churchill, which is a proper heavy tank, that goes at 22 kilometers per hour with a 9.5 power to weight, but it does have worse hull and turret traverse. Something like the KV-1 even, 22, 10.7 with a 20 and a 30 for turret and hull traverse. So, you know, it's not a particularly fast medium. It is very much a heavy tank in terms of mobility. Even something like the Churchill 1, there you go, 21, 23, 10.3 power to weight and 24 top speed. It's got the top speed of a heavy tank, the power to weight of a heavy tank, although it is slightly better in terms of power to weight in comparison to something like the KV-1, the Churchill. But even so, it's not that fast. any medium tank at this tier is faster than you are. Unfortunately, many tanks are at this. Many tanks are quicker than a Matilda, and yeah, it's not particularly mobile. The turret traverse and the hull traverse is not too bad. You know, they are at least better than heavy tanks. And if we were to compare it to something like the Panzer, for example, 45-40 with a better power to weight, better average speed, weighs less. Something like the T-34 for another Russian tech tree tank. 16.5 power to weight, 49-56. Even the Wolverine. Oh, as it loads, there you go. Even the Wolverine here, which still got a very slow turret traverse, but it's got the same hull traverse, and it's far faster and with a far better power to weight ratio, and arguably a better gun. So you are just a heavy tank, pretty much. You play this thing like a heavy tank, as you would with the Matilda at the lower tier. Pretty much anything you can do in the Matilda, you can do in this, almost, except for in comparison to the gun. And talking of the gun, let's have a look at that now. So it's a 76 mil Zis 96 gun, which is not that great. It's got 0.39 dispersion, 6.5 second reload time, aim time 3.4 seconds. Average pen with AP 110, 155 with APCR, and 20 with HE. Got the standard 160, 30, 135 and 200 average damage across the board. Very good gun depression though. Look at that, 14 degrees of gun depression. That's probably one of the highest gun depressions I've ever seen. And 25 degrees of gun elevation. The gun can move any which way. So yeah, you've got gun depression down to like there. You can really ridgeline on this thing, because of that, just that gun and depression. There's nothing else at this tier which has got that sort of gun depression. The Panzer IV's only got 6. It's got half, even less than half of the gun depression of the Matilda IV there. The T-34's got, I think, 8 degrees of gun depression. This thing's got 5. It's terrible. The Sherman 5, even 12 degrees of gun depression. Even the Sherman with its relatively good gun depression there, well, very good gun depression, it's still not as good as the Matilda. 5/4 is no way. What about something like the Easy 4 Sherman? 10 degrees. Nothing comes in the same realm as the Matilda. So that's very good gun depression, but otherwise it is comparable to something like the Panzer's gun, with the same 110 average pen, slightly less armor APCR, and it's not as accurate, but it has got a better aim time and slightly better DPM with better reload time. If we were to compare it to what else can you buy from the tech tree, the Panzer, the 5/4's gun, for example, again, very similar in terms of the Panzer IV's gun. So in comparison to the Matilda's got a better aim time, it's got worse dispersion, it's got a better reload time, same average pen, worse APCR and HE pen, same average damage and better gun depression. Oh, the 5/4's actually got 10 degrees of gun depression. Interesting. But yeah, so in terms of the gun, the Matilda's a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, if we were to go with a refined gun, we could get that dispersion down to 0.35, which would be, pretty good. In fact, if I was to go ahead and mount that now, there you go. 0.35 dispersion, which now makes it, sort of pretty decent dispersion. I don't think it'll be as good as something like the Shinobi's, because the Shinobi has got a very good gun, exactly 0.35 and a 3.4 second aim time. It's got worse DPM, obviously, but it has got better average pen with AP. Same average pen with premium AP, but it doesn't have as good gun depression, only 6 degrees. So, yeah, the Matilda IV actually compares quite favourably in terms of the gun. It's not the best gun in the world. You will struggle to get through a bunch of tanks, especially at range. But otherwise, it's a serviceable little gun. So that's the basic overview of the stats of the Matilda. It's a heavy tank at heart, but wrapped up in a medium tank designation in World of Tanks Blitz here. One of the oldest premiums, and it's a decent enough all-rounder. It's just fairly slow. you will take a while to get to the front lines, but otherwise it's a decent enough tank. As for consumables, you've of course got your standard repair, first aid, fire, and you got your engine power boost, 20% engine power for 15 seconds. You've got your adrenaline, which is 20% of low speed and 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules. Then you've got your multi-purpose, which is the top 3 rolled into one. So you can go ahead and mount them as you wish. Maybe engine power boost isn't such a bad idea on a slow tank like the Matilda, but anyway, you can do that as you wish. You of course got standard fuel for 3% to engine power and turret traverse. You've got condensed milk, 3% to crew mastery, and your protective kit, which is all that stuff. So you can go ahead and mount them as you wish. As for rounds, you carry 60 rounds of ammunition. You're not likely to fire off all of those rounds in a match, so you can go ahead, mix and match those as you wish. As for equipment, you could go with calibrated shells, but only gives you an extra 5 mils of 5 mil of extra pen on your AP. So I would say gun rammer gets you a better DPM, and your reload speed goes down by about half a second. So not too bad. Then I would say improved modules for the extra track durability. It's very nice. Coated optics, because you're not a sniper, you are a slow, medium / heavy tank. So coated optics would be better, I think. You don't need enhanced gun lane drive. You've got very good accuracy, aim time rather, anyway. So I would say supercharged for the extra shell velocity and the decrease in penetration lost over distance, which is very important when you don't have particularly a lot of pen with this gun, same as something like the Panzer. Enhanced armor is not too bad of an idea. You do have pretty strong armor for a medium tank. You've got the same frontal armor as a KV-1, which is a good way of looking at it, so I would say enhanced armor. Otherwise you can go with improved assembly, get you up to almost 800 HP, but I think actually enhanced armor would probably benefit this tank quite a lot. You're going to want engine accelerator, because otherwise you'd have a sub 12 power to weight ratio, so you'd have what, an 11.7 power to weight ratio, which is still not that great at all, and your hull traverse would go down slightly. I mean, you could get your hull traverse up to 40 degrees per second, but honestly you need that power to weight for climbing hills, because you will be very, very sluggish going up hills. So engine accelerator is a good idea. Refined gun, get that accuracy down to 0.35, which is then at least decent enough accuracy. It's not amazing laser-like accuracy, such as 0.33 and below accuracy, but it's sort of in the mid-range. I classify the mid-range as being anywhere from 0.34 to 0.37 accuracy, and then anything after that is bad accuracy. So you're sort of mid-range accuracy in terms of dispersion, so refined gun is a good idea. Enhanced tracks is probably a good idea in comparison to toolbox. If you can bounce your shots as they're blowing off your tracks, then you can just get your tracks up to a pristine condition without spending the repair kit. So enhanced tracks is probably a better idea, and then your choice of where the hell those two things are. So yes, overall the Matilda Mark IV, it's one of the oldest tanks, premium tanks in the game, I'd say, and I got it when I got a 20% off token thing from the daily missions, from one of those random chests, so I thought might as well, because I've always looked at it and wanted it, but never really got around to buying it because I had better things to do with my gold and credits and stuff. But otherwise, yeah, it's a decent enough tank. It's a fairly well-rounded tank. It's got the armor of a heavy tank, the mobility of a heavy tank, the gun of a Panzer IV, near enough. And yeah, just overall a pretty fun tank to drive. So yeah, I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.